The converted man here. Since it's early in the morning, I'm going to be quiet. But I'm also going to do this video because I want to. So here we go. Hopefully everything works.
According to John Schellenberg, in his influential book Divine Hiddenness and Human Reason, he contends that if an all-powerful God existed, then every reasonable, non-resistant person would come to believe. As you can see, he claims there are those who are non-resistant and don't believe because there hasn't been enough evidence to convince the non-resistant skeptic.
There hasn't been any evidence at all, not even a little. Forget about resistant or not, there just isn't any evidence. Period. End of story. No empirical evidence, no repeatable test, no valid and sound argument, nothing. It is exactly what we would expect from human efforts on behalf of a made up idea. In this case, we call that idea God. Religion has essentially come from humans in the past and continues to come from humans, and that's it. It's just all made up stories that people tell and believe for various different reasons, but none of those reasons are evidence. So there's nothing new here. There's no evidence at all. But yes, if there was an all-powerful being, or even semi-powerful being, that wanted us to know about itself, then it could. There's no reason it couldn't let us all know, especially in today's day and age. We would, celebrities can be known worldwide fairly easily, so it shouldn't be very difficult for being that wanted us to know about it to make itself known to all of humanity in a way that we would understand what it is and what it wants. So the fact that none of that's happened is at least some sort of hint that this thing isn't a thing that wants us to know that it exists, if it even exists at all.
So according to Schellenberg, we've got a sender problem. Let's consider a syllogism of Schellenberg's argument as found in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Premise 1. There are people who are capable of relating personally to God, but who, through no fault of their own, fail to believe. Premise 2. If there is a personal God who is unsurpassably great, then there are no such people. Conclusion. So there is no such God.
I mean, it's okay. Not a formulation I would do. If it's going to be hypothetical, like if suggests hypothetical to me, so I would get rid of it. If I would just say, there's ways to fix this. So you could just say, as far as relating personally to God, of course there has to be a God. So that kind of, it's not very, it's not really well formatted or written. So I'm not sure where he got this argument from. Seems like he made it himself, but it's just not very well structured.
How might we respond? Personally, I think the problem is with premise 1, through no fault of their own. This is problematic and assumes too much. We can't assume the person who perceives himself as non-resistant is so entirely objective as to not be blinded by other things which might be blocking his ability to capture a clear peak of God as one who exists.
And that assumes the opposite. It assumes the other things are true. And, again, this appears to be a constructed argument that you've made. You said, mentioned Stanford Encyclopedia, but this doesn't come from that encyclopedia. So I'm not sure where this argument's coming from. Um, but yeah, I mean, here's the thing: no matter what I look at, no matter what I observe, I see no evidence of a thing that I would call God. So there you go. That's the end of that story. There just isn't evidence for this idea, this phenomenon. And if there is evidence, then I'm simply unaware of that evidence. And so it's not about anything to do with my personal desire. If I saw it, uh, well, if I don't recognize it, that's a problem of it, not me. It's not my fault that I didn't, notice the hidden writing. If you're gonna be cryptic, uh, eh, then yes, you have a probability that somebody's going to miss out on you because you're being cryptic, right? If you hide something well enough, nobody should be able to find it. You know, so this is the whole problem: is that you have to get around this idea and make it justified that God's hiding. So it's not God's fault. It's the people's fault. Of course, of course. You don't want to blame God. You always have to blame the humans, even though it's, would clearly be the fault of the deity. Good morning, Brian. Okay. Brian's in chat. So hi. Yeah, he said good morning. Okay. Anyways, back to the video.
Among the things blocking us can be presuppositions, unresolved traumas, disjointed rational conclusions, and all sorts of other influences. There can be a combination of rational, relational, social, emotional, and volitional conditions that impair one's ability to be fruitfully objective.
It's not about being objective, though. You've completely switched the topic into a different topic in whole. There's no reason, no matter what I have going on, all the things that you listed, which I notice are all negatives and thus somewhat poisoning the well, setting up in the mind of the believers that the skeptic merely has personal problems. That's why they can't see God. See, this is more about justifying your belief to other believers. It's all about making yourself feel comfortable in your own beliefs rather than showing, actual evidence for the thing that you believe in. So, but regarding all those potential problems that one could have, let's say that there was somebody with all those potential problems. Okay, they see you, they see this person, right? And if they don't mistake you for Johnny Knoxville, which is, somebody in the comments right here said that they were happy that Johnny Knoxville opened his heart to Christ, and he does kind of look like Johnny Knoxville, um, which is the guy from uh, the the different what is it, the Jackass movies. I couldn't think of it. It's like, all right, let's just take a quick gander here just to compare. Let's see. Hold on a second. All right, because this is important that we prove the point that this guy kind of does look like Johnny Knoxville, right? Because that's important. Um, the whole God thing can wait a moment while we do that. But yeah, I mean, you might say, hey, this guy. Oh my God, it is Johnny Knoxville. I mean, come on, it's totally Johnny Knoxville. Okay, check this out. There you go. All right, so there you go. Wait a minute. It is. No, wait, it is. Wait, it can't not be. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is that. Wait, is Bonnie Conway Johnny Knoxville's real name? Like, what? Has anyone forgotten these two people in a room together? What the heck? Okay. All right. Okay. Anyways. All sorry. Sorry. I should be focused. I know. But hey, look. Okay, so if somebody's like, "Hey, this guy is Johnny Knoxville," right? Bobby here could say, like, "Here's my ID that says I'm not. I know I look like the guy. I look like a clone of the guy, but here's my ID. There's a reason to not think that I'm this guy, right?" Or like, no matter what issues or trauma that a person has, right? We wouldn't see this dude on our screen and be like, "Oh, I don't believe in him. I don't believe he exists," right? Like, hey, here's a guy looks like Johnny Knoxville. I believe he exists. Why? Because like I can see him. He's moving. He's well, right now he's not moving because I have a pause. But it's like, could be computer generation, but CGI hasn't gotten that good yet. There's reasons to think he isn't that, etc. Right. So all of this is just distractions from the fact of the matter is there isn't any evidence for God. There's plenty of evidence for Johnny Knoxville and Bobby Conway, but there's zero evidence for your God. And so you're saying, "Oh, well, maybe all these problems are blocking your objectivity." No, it's nothing to do with my objectivity. I don't need to be objective to see that you exist. I could be very non-objective and still notice that you exist. So none of that has to do with it at all. But I know that you need to straw man the atheist and the skeptic so that you can basically placate the believers and make them think, "Oh, well, yeah, that's why the unbeliever doesn't believe. It's just all these mental problems that they have, all these hardships in their life. That's why they can't see God. It's nothing to do with the fact that God is unseeable. No. It's all these problems that they have." All right, Johnny Knoxville continues here.
We cannot underestimate the effects of the fall and how it limits our capacity to remain free of bias.
Oh man, so what in the world was Jesus' sacrifice for, really? I mean, the fall is still affecting humanity? Like, didn't Jesus die to get rid of that whole thing? Like, and again, that places the problem right back on God. God set up the conditions for that fall to happen, making this God's fault. But why can't God just show up? What is it about the fall that prevents God from showing up in a way that is perceivable to all humanity? I don't know. Just seems like an excuse to me.
No one is fully objective east of Eden. Besides this, I think those who claim that they are truly non-resistant need to be honest about themselves and ask.
Okay, so this is again. They need to be honest. Isn't that it's such poisoning of the well, isn't it, to say this? Because he's saying this to other believers. He's not talking to us. He's not talking to the skeptic or the atheist. He's talking to believers, right? That's his audience. He's gonna for almost 500K subscribers, and they know that. They absolutely know who they're talking to. They know that they're not talking to the atheists. They know that we only watch their content to poop all over it, to hate watch it, to make video responses to it, so they don't need to worry about us. It's like I'm just giving them more views by doing what I'm doing right now in essence. But hey, look, I got to respond to it because it's wrong. But yeah, this is just like, it just poisons the well. I mean, they're not being honest with themselves. No, I'm perfectly honest with myself. There's no evidence of God. Yeah, I'm still being honest about that. There's still no evidence of God. Very honest with myself there. No evidence, so.
Need to be honest about themselves and ask, am I really non-resistant to Christianity?
Am I really non-resistant? Yeah, I'm really non-resistant to actual evidence. So, yes. Wait, whoops.
About themselves and ask, Am I really non-resistant to Christianity?
Oh, to Christianity. Oh, okay, I didn't let him finish. Well, what about Christianity? Um, I'm very resistant to that because it doesn't have any evidence. So, I don't care about your religion until it offers me, empirical evidence or repeatable test, which it can't and has not done. So, where's that? Regardless, why does it matter if I'm resistant to it? It either it's true or it's not true. That's all. You just demonstrate that it's true, right? Are you resistant to biological evolution? Well, some people are. They're really really resistant against it being true, even though they can be shown that it's demonstrably true. They really don't want it to be true. And then you can see that. You can see that when you interact with them. But you have actual evidence there. So we don't have any of that for God. We don't have any way to put God into a beaker and run him through science like we do biological evolution. I know so there's nothing there for us to examine. There's nothing there for us to look at. There isn't any evidence for us to consider. So it's not being resistant is irrelevant. I just need evidence. There's no evidence for this. That's all.
There are probably some features of Christianity that don't sit well with such non-resistant people, which undoubtedly is skewing their sight. Things like sin, hell, judgment, what the Bible has to say about sex.
Yeah, and those are all bugs. Those are problems you guys have. By the way, hell isn't really in the Bible. I challenge you, and I challenge all Christians this. Show me in the Bible hell. Show me where that is. No, like show me hell in the Bible. Go on, pull out the verses. Show me where it says hell exists in the Bible. Guess what? Not going to be there. It's not there. It's not. You got a parable about it. You have the lake of fire talked about in Revelations, and that's it. So where does the whole concept come from? It's not the Bible. It's extra biblical ideas that came later, invented probably by the early church. I blame the Catholic early church, but it might have been earlier before that. But regardless, it's an invention. It's not actually in the Bible. Neither is the Trinitarian thing, but whatever. That's at least that's hinted at vaguely, maybe. But yeah, you can't find that idea. That a lot of these ideas are just not in the Bible. They're just made up by people adding on to what the Bible says. So hell's not a thing. Anyways, yeah, the thing about sex, you know what I mean, like homosexuality. Well, yeah, that's also actually a mistranslation and misunderstanding of what the Bible actually says about such subjects. And that's again because people have done that. People have changed what the Bible says. And so that's a you problem that you need to fix. But why would it be that the book would not be something that everybody would love and be attracted to? Why wouldn't that be the case? And it's made by this amazing thing that made us all, and yet we're repulsed by it, we're turned off by it. I don't know. Seems like that's a human effort then. I don't know why it wouldn't be universally accepted or understandable. And bring this up every now and again. I can never pronounce their name. The Piana people. I think that's how you say the name. Probably not. Got it bookmarked somewhere. But at any rate, these. Oh yeah, there you go. They were presented the story or some of the stories from the Bible. This is how you say it though. That's here. However you want to pronounce this. Tiaria ha. I just like Piana. I don't know. There's no N in there. Praha people define happiness without God. They don't have God. They don't have a concept of God. When they were taught, when the guy he learned their language and he told them like one of the stories from the Bible, they didn't relate to it. They didn't understand it. They thought it was funny. It's like it's not a universal story. So that smacks of human origins. That's a bug in your system, not a feature. But again, none of that matters. If there was actually evidence of God, then I would accept it. But there isn't. So your book doesn't matter. Your book's not evidence of anything other than your book's poorly written.
One way at getting at the so-called non-resistant person's resistance might be to ask something like, so tell me, why don't you believe in Christianity?
That's very easy to answer, because there's no evidence for it. Let's see. You ask, why don't I believe in Christianity? Because you have no evidence for it. There you go. Like the. I had to clarify because some nitwits can be like, of course Christianity exists. All right, anyways.
At that point, we might get a brief download on some of their objections. And guess what? On hearing these, we will have entered the detection zone.
Yeah, and what they'll hear from like every single skeptic and atheist, hopefully, is that there's no evidence. That will be the response to this. So this isn't unpacking the divine hidden argument at all. It's not even addressing the divine hiddenness argument. I mean, it's not even really a version of the actual divine hiddenness argument, because whatever he pulled was, I have no idea where the bleep he got that argument from. I think he made it himself. So not only is he not addressing the actual argument or the made up argument that he put up, he's also completely on a separate tangent trying to get people to ask this question. And so the people are going to go out, they're going to be unprepared, they're going to ask the skeptic and atheist why, or the non-Christian, why they don't believe in Christianity. And they're like, yeah, because I don't have evidence of it. Oh, whoops. I was expecting, but yeah, isn't it just because you really are you're resistant and you've had all these bad things happen to you? Isn't that it? No, I just don't believe it because there's no evidence. There you go.
As those objections have just revealed where their resistance lies.
Yeah, in the fact that you have no evidence. That's where my resistance is. I'm resistant against things that have lack of any empirical evidence or repeatable tests. That's the resistance I have. It's a very strange resistance that I have, but yeah, it's just I resist believing in things without evidence. I don't know why I'm like that. It's just that's how I am, though.
As I conclude, here is some advice I'd like to offer to the person who thinks they are non-resistant and yet wants to encounter God. First, don't underestimate our ability to be skewed about our own biases.
Yeah, I'm very biased. I require empirical evidence or repeatable tests. It's extraordinary bias. Now, what's weird about this bias is that for everything else, it seems to be just fine. Requiring that works on like everything. Like there isn't anything that doesn't work on. Now, when I apply this bias to fictional beings, like I don't know, Jar Jar Binks is my favorite to mention. I don't know why, because I just don't like Jar Jar Binks. He's like an example of a character that I know is made up, but I hate. So it's like, yes, I hate something that is made up. I absolutely hate Jar Jar Binks, and he steps in poo. It's just unlikable. He's just useless. I just hate his design, hate the way he talks. I hate everything about this guy. He doesn't really exist, though. But when I examine him, I go, man, the overwhelming lack of evidence for this guy that's not proof that he doesn't exist, but it's awfully compelling reasons to think that he doesn't exist. I mean, I don't have any proof that he does exist. There's no bones. Those creatures like this have never been found. And something this stupid would not last long. So, yeah, I mean, but what I find is, demanding empirical evidence and repeatable tests of Jar Jar Binks yields zero results of Jar Jar Binks. So then I feel quite comfortable placing him in the completely made up category because, well, I have nothing that proves him. So there's lots of things like that, like goblins, ogres, dragons. Don't have any proof of those things. So I put those things in made up things. G-O-D. See, goblins, ogres, dragons. Nobody minds when you do that with goblins, ogres, and dragons. Nobody says, "Hey, how dare you say those are made up?" They don't mind that. They're fine with that. They're fine with you saying that those things are made up. But then when you reduce them down to the letters and say, "I don't believe in G-O-D," people have problems with that because they believe in G-O-D. They shouldn't, but they do. Anyways, back to the thing. All right.
Second, ask yourself what you are looking for. Are you being realistic, like expecting God to do something for you that he doesn't do for others who believe?
I have no idea, but as far as being realistic, I don't know. I mean, is it too much to ask that this thing reveal that I have evidence for it when I have evidence of everything else? I don't think that's unreasonable. I really don't. I could be wrong, but I'm asking for the same sort of evidence for this thing that I have for everything else. That's my system. I use it on everything. Seems to work just fine. Uh, you know, could be a flaw in my system. Could be wrong. You know, so so far nobody's pointed out any flaw in my reasoning or whatever. A few have tried, but it survived the attacks that it's had. I'm looking for another thing that I could add to my system, and so far nobody's really offered that either. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, no, I'm not asking God to do anything unreasonable. I don't think so, or that wouldn't do for any other believer. I'm not asking it to do anything at all, actually, because I don't think it is a thing, and I don't think it's a thing because I don't have any evidence of it. Uh, if I was to ask for something, I suppose I would ask for evidence. And that doesn't seem unreasonable to ask. But I don't know. It depends what you think reasonable or unreasonable is, which is a you problem, not a me problem.
Have you set the bar so high so as to ensure that you'll always have a finger to point at the sender?
As William Lane Craig says, lower that bar, keep lowering that bar. No, the bar is as high as it is for everything else. It's again the system I use, and is the system that I use for everything, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what's your claim. Okay, great. Prove the claim. Prove it's true. Nerdy wrote it, for example. He puts up videos about like how to do things with computers I don't understand, but if you follow his instructions, it works. Like, so you just follow the instructions, right? And even if you're a dum-dum, if you do that, you get the result. So the proof is in the testing of the thing, and then it works. But he also shows you how to do it like on a screen, so you know that he did it, right? Unless like he edited it cleverly to make it look like he did that. But then why would you do that? Who knows? I don't know. But the point is, there's evidence there, some sort. Well, we don't, where's so we look around his studio, we see like a microphone picture in the background. We see, I don't know, there's a camping van in the background. There's like somebody blowing gum, like an ancient statue bust of somebody blowing bubble gum. There's another camper in the background. There's plants, a couple more a microphone aimed at a microphone. There's some books in the background. He looks like Johnny Knoxville. We've covered that, but it's just worth saying again. There's this jacket, and then there's the CE in a box that's not in the background. That's obviously a graphic that's been overlaid to brand the thing, But where is God? I don't see any God in this picture anywhere. So, I don't have any evidence of this thing that you're calling God. It's just by looking around your particular studio. Now, maybe God's not in that studio. Maybe God's somewhere else. I don't know. but I'm not seeing it, so I don't have any evidence of it. So why should I believe in this thing? That's not lowering my bar. It's the same bar. Do I believe in Johnny Knoxville? Absolutely. Do I believe in Bonnie Conway? Absolutely. Do I believe that Bonnie Conway is a clone of Johnny Knoxville? Absolutely. Why do I believe that? Well, because I put the two pictures up side by side and he looks like a clone of Johnny Knoxville. So that's what I believe. Now, yes, you could falsify that belief rather easily by getting the two together in the same room. Of course, I could still say he's a clone, and then that's a little bit harder to prove. You'd have to get DNA samples of both of them and show those to me. But really, it shouldn't be your job to disprove that idea. It actually should be my job to prove the idea because I'm the one making the claim. See, the claim is that this guy is, in fact, the clone of Johnny Knoxville, and he's a very defective clone because he's not very good. He's not as talented or interesting as Johnny Knoxville, but nonetheless, if I'm making the claim, I should have the burden of proof. And what do you need when you want to prove something? You need evidence. What does he not have? Evidence. So there you go. That's your problem right there, buddy.
Third, do you think it's realistic for you to be able to set the terms for how God should make himself known to you? Fourth, ask yourself,
sure, why not? Why would it be unreasonable for me to set those terms? But it's not just me. That's the thing. This isn't a me decision. This is a how do we decide if something is true question, which is epistemology. Okay, so how do we know what's true in the first place? How do we know that when something is true? What is the methodology we're going to use? Okay, there's many methodologies. Okay, we could go, well, anything that anyone says, I'm just going to believe that. There's a method. You could go with that. Let's see how well that works. Oh, you owe me $1 million. Okay, I have. I guess I owe you $1 million because you said so. I don't have $1 million, but I'm going to work on getting it for you, and it's going to take a while to pay off. But sure, why not? I'll just get right on it. And the other person's like, I own you. Okay, I guess you own me. And so it's not a very good method. Somebody says, hey, you're purple, and the other person says, no, you're not purple. Well, who do I believe now? It's a very difficult thing to go with. So maybe that methodology isn't a very good one to know things. So maybe there's some other methodology I could use instead. Maybe I'll believe things only if they're in a book. Okay, and then I pick up a book and I start to read the book, and and I believe everything in the book, and then I pick up a different book, and that if that book contradicts the first book, then what do I do? There's going to be problems there. So then maybe that's not a very good methodology either. So epistemology of how you know what you know and how do we humans know anything is something worth exploring and understanding. So what's your epistemology here? Do you just believe it because you want to believe it? Do you believe it because you've been told to believe it? What is it? What is your system that you use to get to your conclusion? No, Johnny Knoxville became a Christian apologist. I know we've already made this joke. So, what was the question I was answering?
How God should make himself known to you?
All right. How should it make it known to me? Well, that's on it, isn't it? That's up to it. And at the end of the day, like, let's say, Bobby here. Now, he doesn't know who the bleep I am, right? But, I did write, time to respond to this video, I suppose, in the comments, right? Now, Bobby here, he's not going to read the comments, more than likely. Somebody on the staff might read the comments, but there's 492 comments. That's a lot of comments, right? I got to upvote my own comments. Anyways, but maybe somebody will see my comment, right? And they'll be like, oh, I'm going to talk to Deconverted Man. So then they click on Deconverted Man. That gets them to my channel. They go, oh, I'm going to click on About here. That gets them over here to my description. And then they go down. They see all these links. They're like, what is this? I don't know. Become a lobsteress. What the hell are they talking about? Whatever. The new lobsteress. The BC, the holiest lobsters. What the bleep? Buy their book, whatever. And then they go, oh, wait a minute. For business inquiries, view email address. And then they see, oh, there's my email address, deconvertedman1@gmail.com. Hey, if I want to reach out to that person, all I have to do is click on that and then email them, you know, and there you go. There you go, right? And then see, and then you could click yourself off of your own live stream by clicking on the wrong buttons or something. But only a moron would do that. Where was I? Oh, right. Not only did I click off my own stream like a moron, but I also clicked off of wherever I was in the video like a moron. So now I have to figure out where the hell I was.
The distance he came in the
Wait, okay.
The gospel is the evidence. Humbly ask God to Christianity. As mentioned, it's there. You believe? Have you set the bar looking for? Are you being realistic?
Yes.
Like expecting God to do something for you that he doesn't do for others who believe?
No idea.
Have you set the bar so high
Set
so
that
as to
bar
ensure
lower.
that you'll
Set that bar lower.
always have a finger to point at the sender? Third, do you think it's realistic for you to be able to set the terms for how God should make himself known to you?
Yes.
Fourth, ask yourself, what are your objections to Christianity?
Lack of empirical evidence and repeatable tests. And there's some other ones as well, but those are the two main ones. So,
as mentioned, it's there you might detect where your resistance has escaped you.
Not really.
Fifth, don't quit seeking. Humbly ask God to help you, even with your unbelief.
Why? No, seriously, why should I do that? Like, at all? Like, why would I need to do that? No, seriously, why? Why would anyone need to do that? There's no reason to think that that's a thing that happens. Like, here's the thing. Okay, I've done this before too. Okay, I know there's at least one theist in the chat, or somebody that leans theistically. I think their avatar name is Fish Fingers. Okay, I could be wrong, but they seem to be a theist, of some sort, believer of some sort. So, anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna make a claim. My claim is that you can have $10,000 U.S. tax-free legal tender delivered to your address. And here's how you obtain that money. It's very simple. At midnight tonight, get it now. Hopefully you have a video camera. If not, use a webcam, use a phone camera. Get a camera from somebody. I'm sure it's not gonna, maybe it's gonna be a hassle, but get a video camera of some sort. Go out at midnight. Make sure lights are on so that you can be seen. This is important. So that you can film yourself or have somebody film you, whatever. The details, they're not super important. As long as you're visible when you do this. It's very important. Okay. So at midnight, tonight, you film yourself, and this is really important. You are going to be in your underwear. Now, you are shirtless. You only have underpants on. And the type of underpants must be underpants with hearts on them. They have to have hearts. You can draw on the hearts yourself, but they have to have hearts on the underpants. If you're a girl, I guess you'll have to censor your top half, for YouTube. Oh, right. That's the next part is, so you're recording this, okay? You're recording everything that's going to happen, and you're going to upload it to YouTube, all right? And so you spin around counterclockwise. And as you're spinning around counterclockwise 3 times, full clockwise motion, you must sing I'm a Little Teapot Short and Stout song, which you can find online. Any version will do. And after you finish doing this and upload that video to YouTube, you will then receive the $10,000. Now, the question is, will you do that? Yes or no? Now, I guarantee without any hesitation that fish fingers will not upload that video to YouTube and perform this action. Nor will anyone else upload such a video to YouTube on the off chance that maybe it will work. Maybe if they do it, they'll get $10,000. In fact, I'll raise it to $1 million. I'll raise it to $1 million and world peace and health and well-being for all humanity and cure to whatever diseases, etc. I'll just make whatever wish you want is granted, whatever the reward is. Well, no, of course not. Why? Because you have no evidence that it's going to do anything. Yes, anyone can make any claim at all. That's the point. I can make any claim and say, oh, if you do this, then this thing will happen. Yeah, spin around 3 times. What's the harm? Why not try? I could say, hey, you'll live to 1,000 years old if you do it. You'll be in perfect health. Well, the moment you get sick, you'd be like, well, you lied, but it doesn't matter. I have the video, and I got my enjoyment from it, But you won't do it. Why? Because you have no evidence. You have no reason to do it. So simply say, hey, pray to God. Keep looking for it. Why? I have no reason to think it's there to look for. I have zero reason. I'm not motivated to do this. I'm not gonna pray. I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna do this stuff. I've done it before in the past many times. In fact, I've done it live on stream. I could do it right now. You know what will happen? Nothing. Just like before. That's what. I've done it many, many times. And the evidence for it is still zero. So until somebody gives me a reason, a legitimate reason, and by reason I mean evidence, that there is a thing to look for, I see no value in attempting to even look for it. Now, maybe I'll do it just for the heck, just for the fun of it, just to prove that it's not going to happen, it's not going to work. But again, there isn't evidence. That's the problem.
Finally, I'd say, while you may not have the experiential sense of contact that you'd like, don't underestimate the evidence Christianity has on offer.
Like what?
Just because God's presence isn't obvious doesn't mean his presence is non-existent.
Kind of does, though.
The gospel is a powerful case for God's love.
No, it's not. It's a story that was written by people, anonymous people we don't even know, and highly edited throughout time. That's all it is. It's not, your storybook is no more important than any other storybook, and I don't care about it. So that's not evidence of anything other than a storybook. It's like, hey, look, read Star Wars. That's evidence that Jar Jar Binks exists. Look in this comic book of Star Wars. Look, there's Jar Jar Binks right there. No, he doesn't exist. No, really. That's evidence. No, it's not.
Demonstrating the distance he came in the incarnation to reconcile us to God.
No, that story doesn't demonstrate anything because stories don't demonstrate things. That is not a function that stories do. Stories tell you a story. Oh, man. Like, look how much things Jar Jar Binks went through in the story. That's evidence that Jar Jar Binks went through all these terrible, horrible things. No, it's not evidence, you nitwit. Circular reasoning? No, this is like beyond circular reasoning. This is just the story is true. How do you know that? Well, because see the story? How it says that all these things happen? Yeah. Well, there you go. If you want that, you just read The Holiest Lobsterist. Same exact thing that will be in there, except it's shorter, so it's easier to read.
The evidence of his death and resurrection can't be ignored.
No, there isn't any evidence of any of that. What? Whose death and resurrection? God? Or you mean Jesus? You mean? Or like, who are you talking about? Like, what evidence? You didn't offer any evidence. That's a story. You're talking about a story.
The arguments against the resurrection are so weak that one is more rational to believe in the evidence for the resurrection than to believe in the evidence against it.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Your arguments for your resurrection, or the resurrection being a thing, are laughable at best and pathetic at worst. The arguments against it, well, I don't know. Pretty simple, straightforward. People don't come back to life. Yeah, I know. Yeah, when you die, you tend to stay dead. The end. That's it. So if there was a dude uh, called Jesus and he died, that's it. He's dead. There was no resurrection. The end. That's all. That's what happened. Period. That's the only argument you need. Is we have zero evidence of this. What you have is a story. What you have there is an assertion. You're asserting that, oh, all the arguments suck. No, they don't. They're all pretty rational, actually. It's your arguments that suck. But the thing is, of course, you can't have good arguments because you don't have any evidence. If you had evidence, you wouldn't need arguments. You just point out the evidence. But all you have is a story. You're like, look at the story. Look at the story. No, I'm not looking at the story. Show me evidence. The story isn't evidence.
All that to say, it may mean trusting in the evidence of the resurrection and following him.
What evidence of the resurrection? There is no evidence of the resurrection. What what evidence? What evidence? What evidence of the resur? I'm not even sure how I spell resurrection now. That's how tired I am. That's what I'll blame. I'll blame tiredness and not the fact that I can't spell. There we go. There we go. All right. Yeah. All right.
Even if it means you are apparently bereft of the kind of experiential contact with God you were in search of.
No, just looking for evidence here. Don't need any sort of spiritual whatever. Just need empirical evidence or repeatable tests. Still don't have that.
In time, through faith and obedience.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Through faith, what happened to all? Oh, okay. So there isn't any evidence or repeatable test. It's just believing in stuff because you want to believe. Oh, okay. I'm not interested in that. I don't need faith. I need facts.
I believe if you truly seek
Well, you believe whatever. I don't care what you believe. I care what's true.
him, you shall find him.
Well, you're wrong. I saw it and I didn't find, so your conclusion is wrong. Your belief is invalid. Did seek him, didn't find him. Your your idea has now been falsified by me.
For again, no receiver will be without excuse.
Well, don't need any excuses. Just the fact that there's no evidence, that's not an excuse. That's just a statement of fact.
For more information on my ministry, be sure to subscribe to my social media handles. And for more videos from Cross Examine,
Just watch Jackass, the movie, where you can now see me doing crazy stunts. I'm going to totally edit this video and something that the guy, Jackass guy, is in, and have those combined into one video to prove my theory that this guy's a clone of the guy. Anyways, all right. So that's it. That's it. Well, should I play it like? Yeah, I guess.
and their instructors, visit crossexamine.org.
No, don't. No. Okay, that was the end. Okay, I just want to make sure it was the end. Because sometimes people will be like, "Oh, you didn't do the whole video." I did the whole damn video. All right, so hey, it didn't take me an hour. Only took me 50 minutes to talk about a 5-minute video, 6-minute video, 5-minute, 50-second video. Man, All right. Now, what's Fish Fingers been saying in chat? I've seen Fish Fingers say Fish Fingers, man, that's a hard avatar name to say. Fish Fingers, Fish Fingers, Fish Fingers. Say it 5 times fast. 5 fish fingers fast. Flipping fish fingers fast furiously on Friday. Anyways, I've seen them say stuff in chat, but I haven't responded to it. All right, let's see. What's they say? Uh, I wonder why there is no honest back and forth conversation here. Well, I was giving a honest back and forth conversation between myself and the video that I'm looking at. Hey, Fishy, you know that you can email me. You can set up a talk with me, right? Like, you know that, right? If not, you know it now. So, yeah, you want to do that? Now, there's my email right here. I'm gonna put it in chat. All right, there you go. Email me. Okay, this is step one. Say, hey, it's me, Fishy Fingers. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's set up a talk. I'm like, hey, what day and time? No, he doesn't want to do that. Oh, wait a minute. So you said, why is there no back and forth conversation here? Well, I don't know. You answer, you tell me. You don't want to talk to me. Wonder why that is. I don't know. It seems like a you problem. All right. Well, the invitation's open. If you ever want to talk to me, talk now. Okay, I'm talking now. Oh, you want to talk right now, this very moment? Is that what you want? I mean, okay, yeah, sure. I'm not sure. I can do that. Whatever. Cool. Yeah, here you go. There's a link. Come on in. Come and talk to me. Let's see if this works. Let's see if you will. Anyways, give him a few moments to decide whether he wants to do that or not. Okay, got rid of that. Johnny Knoxville. Knoxville. That's great. That guy is a clone of him. Utter clone. That's the next video I have to do now. I have to make a video where like I did that because like it's just like he is that guy. It's yeah, that's it. He is that dude. Like I'm gonna download that video. Okay, video download. And I just have to find a video of Jenny Knoxville with gray hair. It shouldn't be too hard to find. And then I have to download that video and I have to edit the two video again. Hey, I'm still waiting. All right, yeah. Hey, fish fingers. There's you wanted to talk now. There's a link to click on, and you could talk right now. So I'm waiting. Chat talk only. I don't do YouTube. You are on YouTube. You are doing YouTube right now. This is YouTube. You are now on YouTube. You mean you don't talk out loud on YouTube? Okay. Well, you only want to do text? That is not what YouTube do. I don't interested in talking to you and having only text at me. I want you to be in here to talk to me person to person. Okay. All right. Chat only. Oh, there you go. That's nah. I'm good. All right. Well, that's it for this video, everyone. Be skeptical, everyone, and stay skeptical because skepticism's the thing, and that's the thing. And now I'm gonna go do this video that I said I would do because it's gonna be funny. Maybe I don't know. Literally cannot speak. You literally can't speak. Like you're mute. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, fish fingers. You got my email address. You can email me sometime. We'll sort out a day and time. We'll figure it out. If not, it's all good. All right. Bye, everybody. Yeah.